Welcome to The Artist Matters. I'm Alex Rudy, and each week you will meet incredible artists from all walks of life. Filmmakers, writers, actors, painters, musicians, and so many more, sharing their stories to motivate and inspire the creative in you. Whether you're doing it for fun or looking to make a living, this show will help you on your journey to bring out the artist within and letting the world know that your art matters. Hello everyone, welcome to The Artist Matters. I'm your host, Alex Rudy. The holiday season is in full swing, and it's great to be back. I got a little holiday gift. I was a guest on another podcast. Yes, you can check out the Paincast. P-E-I-N. And I was his guest, referred by one of my previous guests, Robert O'Tone, because he was on his show and said he'd be a good fellow to talk to. So I shared him some things, and it was a nice little chat. Got to meet his pug. Cute little dog. And so you can check it out. I'll put a link to it here. Well, what better way to keep the holiday season in full swing with something that screams holiday spirit? Drag queens. And today, we have my very first drag queen on the show. And this is the first time that I have a guest who is related to a previous guest. It's through marriage, but today's guest is the stepbrother to Mackenzie Lee Hart. He is Harrison Schenkel. I met Harrison when I went to his church that his father was a pastor at, which is St. John's Lutheran Church in Long Island in Sayville. And his father married my wife and I. And not too long after, we were treated to a stage production of High School Musical, The Concert, starring Pastor Schenkel's oldest son, Harrison. It was a very fun and enjoyable show. I mean, I really didn't know much about High School Musical, but he did. And he put on a good show with members of the church, and it was a lively performance. I said, this guy's got something in him. There's some talent there. And, I moved down here to Florida, lose touch. Then once I connected with Mackenzie, she told me that her stepbrother, Harrison, is a drag queen. I said, what? I expected him to be like a Broadway leading man. Now the drag queen was like, oh, okay, that's different. I've got to learn more. I mean, come on, it's a drag queen. When are you ever going to get a chance to talk about the art of being in drag? Well, today you're getting that treat. Finally connected with him and learned about him moving into New York City, possibly interested in Broadway, but he was more into the music scene, and then it just evolved into drag from there, and how he came up with his alter ego in drag, Kimmi Moore. He explains the origin of that name, the process of getting into the whole costume and preparing for a show, and breaking into this biz. It's now becoming a point where it's supporting him, which is very good. It's really close. He has released music himself as Kimmi, with the songs My Head and One Night, which was just released this year. And it was just so cool reconnecting with him after all these years and learning about his craft. Yes, it is artistic and it is creative and keeps audiences entertained on a weekly basis. So, without further ado, let's get into this. And here is my chat with Harrison Schenkel. All right, welcome to the show, Harrison, a.k.a. Kimmi Moore. How you doing?
Good. How are you? I'm happy to be here.
Great. It's awesome to have someone who's related to a previous guest through marriage.
Yes.
Mackenzie Lee Hart. And then when she told me...
I miss her very much.
Yeah, very talented young lady. And this is her stepbrother.
What's up?
Hey. You all went to the church that we went to, St. John's Lutheran, back in New York, where your dad married me and my wife. Crazy, man. How time
Crazy.
goes.
So much talent running through that.
Yes.
That system.
There must be some higher power involved. But anyway, it's all about Harrison right now. So let's begin at the beginning. Did you grow up on the island?
I did. I grew up in Sayville.
Mm-hmm.
Sayville, Long Island. I was born in Indiana, though.
Oh.
So, but I don't remember it, so it doesn't count.
Now, did you always have this creative side to you?
Oh, yeah. When I was younger, my whole family and I would like put on plays, and I would direct everything for like Christmas and Thanksgiving and blah blah blah. That's when I was like really young, and then I did I did a million shows in high school and elementary school and middle school and college, and I did a lot of things like dance, a cappella groups. So it's been running through my blood since I was like a baby.
Anybody else in the family creative besides Mackenzie?
My brother is a basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
My sister, we all did music and theater when we grew up, but me and Mackenzie are the only ones who took the actual path as a career. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Now, was it always acting that was your creative side? Was there anything else, like maybe drawing or writing or anything like that?
Honestly, anything creative, I dabbled in it. Mm-hmm. I guess I never really thought about it until we're speaking now, but I did a lot of art. It just intrigued me. Most of the things that I did were like recreations of things. I would recreate like in art. I would like to draw things that I am looking at, or copy something that was already done. In music, I would copy like a similar style of music. In dance, I would watch videos and learn the choreography. In acting, I would imitate another person that had done the same character. So I mostly did a lot of imitation of other things.
And that's the sincerest form of flattery, eh?
Yeah. Now I'm starting to create my own things, which is great.
It's an evolution. But back in, I want to say, I think it was 2006, maybe 2007, you got to do the High School Musical concert at church.
Oh, God. Bringing me all the way back to that.
Yeah. That was when I got to really see your creative side come out, because you did the show and you based it all on the choreography of the concert. And it was a spectacle.
It was something. Actually, no, I feel really grateful that I had that opportunity with my dad being a pastor and everything. He gave me the opportunity to use my craft, and I don't think anybody else really has an opportunity like that when you're that young. I mean, I was how old, like 16 or something?
Might be
15. I don't know, and I was just directing this this youth play in the church. It was so weird, but it was great.
You got to sing and dance in it.
Yeah.
So
I was a weird kid, but you know.
Almost all us creative types are a little weird, but that's what makes us so unique and creative. At least you got to channel it in a positive way. Some people never get to do that, you know?
Yeah, that's why I feel very grateful.
So you did some acting in school, other plays in, was it in high school? You did some plays too with the high school? Or there?
Yeah, I did every show in high school.
Yeah.
Every musical at least.
Favorites?
My favorite was Beauty and the Beast.
Who'd
Obviously,
you play?
I played Lumiere, the candlestick, the French candlestick.
Nice.
And I was really into it. I even went to one of the French teachers and was like, help me with my accent, blah, blah, blah. And that's probably the one that stands out the most, because all the other shows that we did were like really like old. Like not that that's a problem, but like some of the stories were just like boring.
Mm-hmm.
Like my senior show was probably the most boring one, and I was the lead in it, and I was like, great.
He soldiered on one way or another. So you get out of high school, do you want to go pursue acting in any way, shape, or form after that, or is it college?
Between high school and college, I was a bit confused.
Mm.
You know, everybody tells you to have a backup and do all these things. And I'm glad I went to school, and I'm glad I did that. I followed a lot of my creative instincts in college. Mostly extracurriculars. And I went to school for social work and Spanish after dabbling in music business, music education, and ended up just deciding on social work and Spanish as like a backup, quote unquote. And when I left school, I realized that I didn't want to put my energy into it because I wanted to focus all my energy on being an artist. So, you know, part of me wishes that I had paid for school and actually went for like acting or something like that, so I would have more skill in that. But the other part of me is like, well, if my road of being an artist goes somewhere else, then I have a backup, so that's great. But
so where do you go from here? Is it moving? Is it moving to the city?
Yeah. After college, I thought about getting some jobs in social work, and one day I was just like, nope, I'm not going to be happy. And I picked up like almost immediately and found a way to move to the city, got a serving job, and just started my path there. And that at first was, a struggle. New York is not easy. It isn't really until now that I am more stable. I wouldn't even say stable, to be honest, because artists are never stable. But the transition was good for me. It kind of pushed me to see what I really wanted. And, and now here we are. It took a while for me to get here in New York. I've went through a lot of different phases of bartending and serving and going. I went from New York to the beach in Long Island over the summers, and I'm like going in circles right now. I'm sorry. But basically, what I'm trying to say is I skipped from bartending to serving a job all over the place while I was doing drag and music on the side. Now I'm finally in a place where I'm doing that full time, which is cool.
Was
More
it
than cool.
But were you trying to be on Broadway? Were you attempting that, or was that something that you tried and it didn't work out?
No, that dream of being on Broadway left me before I moved to the city.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you think?
Because my focus turned towards music and pop and like the mainstream pop industry rather than the Broadway and the musical side of things, which I love. I really do love theater and I do miss it. But when I look back, my first choice was always the pop industry. Like when I was younger, I would watch music videos and concerts and imitate it and reproduce it and blah, blah, blah.
Did you record yourself doing these music videos?
I sure did, but I do not know where they are, and I hope they don't show up.
Well, just to let you know, no. Surprise!
Oh my God.
No. I'm not James Lipton, folks. I'm not going to pull